What's up, y'all? LTJ Regis here, and this is Throwing Light. And if you're not throwing light, you're not acting right. We are on our, I believe, 156th episode, and I am now doing something that I was excited to do last year, but so excited to do again this year. I'm hoping this will be the thing. Is introducing you to your IML contestants that are going to be coming for 48, while checking in on some people from last year as well. I'm excited to get to that and let you meet everybody and see who's returning. Before, remember, please subscribe to my YouTube channel if you can, where you can find all of these Throwing Light interviews. Plus, as you know, I'm doing the Throwing Light tour, in which I've been throughout Texas. I've done New York City, and San Francisco is going to be up this weekend. Please follow along on my YouTube channel as I start putting a lot of new different content. Be patient with me; it's coming. Working on a lot of film projects here in the community, some dance projects, some music videos, lots of great things that I'm hoping will give you kind of a showcase of all the multi-talents that I have. With that being said, let's go ahead and kick it over to our panelists. Well, you're not panelists, you're guests. You're not doing a panel. We have got, they are 15, 14 hours in the future, and they're here to tell us what's happening for us to prevent in case there's some danger ahead of us. We have time, guys. We have time to react because they're going through it first. Okay, so anyways, what I'm going to do, I'm going to call everybody's name. They're going to tell you their title. Then we're going to get right in and we're going to see what we got here because I'm super excited. All right, let's start with BB. Let everybody know who you
Hi,
are.
hi, BB, Laird Leatherman 2025 from Melbourne, Australia.
Liam,
I'm Liam Clark, Mr. Australian Leather 2025, also from Melbourne, Australia.
Luis,
Hi, my name is Lewis. I am Sydney Mr. Leather 2025, and I'm from Sydney, even though I'm originally from Spain and Germany.
wait, you said Lewis. You say Lewis?
It does a better job for the Australians to pronounce my name because they struggle with the pronunciation of mine and obviously your name then as well.
Now I'm like, okay, but I have an O in mind, so that throws me off. So I'm like, I think that I don't know. Okay, so if I were there, it would be easier. Wait, but I'm Lewis, so it's easier to say Lewis than Luis.
Say Luis, like the correct Spanish pronunciation of my name is Luis, but like
Luis.
because a lot of like Australians that I come across since I've moved here like struggle with the name, so like I've just anglicized it a little
It's,
bit.
it's
That
not that
makes it much
hard.
more.
No, okay. You know what?
You've lived in
Over
Europe, Liam.
here, I don't know if you know, over here, expecting people to pronounce things correctly is not going to be something that you can bet on over here. So if there's any pronunciation issues over here, trust and believe the United States, we do not pronounce things right. So let's move over to Brendan.
Hi, I'm Brendan Josie. I'm Mr. Queensland Leather 2023, and I'm from Brisbane, Australia.
Jacob.
Hi, I'm Jacob. I'm the current Mr. Queensland Leather, and I'm from Meanjin, Brisbane.
All right. And then Shane.
Shane, Mr. Australian Leather 2023, also from Brisbane.
All right, y'all. Go ready? Get ready. It's kind of like a game show. Except there are no prizes at the end except for your dignity. Are you ready? Here we go. Okay, so let's start off with Liam. Okay, so I see that you are involved in rubber, correct?
Yes, so that is
Um,
very much
so,
correct.
so why the rubber community? What makes you feel like you're a part of that?
I mean, I guess I've always kind of been a part of both. I was originally back in 2015. I saw the Laird Leatherman competition and was actually considering running for Laird Leatherman in 2016. Um, and I had a lot of leather and a lot of rubber. And when I spoke to the owners of the Laird about that, they were like, that sounds great, but we've already got 4 contestants for Laird Leatherman this year, and they're doing a rubber competition this year, and they don't have any contestants yet. So, considering you do both, maybe you would be more interested in doing Melbourne Rubberman. And I was like, okay, sure. I felt like, as a skinny, weird, lanky, nerdy 29-year-old, that I possibly fit the rubber image a little bit more than what I would fit in the leather one. So I went for it. So then I won Melbourne Rubberman 2016, and yeah, I think I certainly have made a mark as a rubberman in Melbourne, and then decided a year and a half ago that it was possibly time to re push myself out there as a leather person as well.
I think that's really cool to be a bridge of two communities and physical
Yeah.
embodiments of that. That is, I think, to me, um, like it's such a like cool way to kind of like project unity, like by physically being a bridge in your precipitation and your presentation. And
Yeah,
go ahead.
I was gonna say, I really just want to show people that you don't have to put yourself in these like boxes. You can be more than one thing. You can explore these different facets of your identity. You can explore the multitude of things that make you horny and want to get off. Like you don't have to just really condense yourself down to what other people perceive you as.
I think that this is an important thing for people to know because I have, even some of my animal brothers, they get overwhelmed with being leather all the time that they feel like they're not showing who they really are. They get kind of
Yeah.
smothered for a second, lose their identities. But you
Mhm.
have to know how to maintain your sense of self and not get covered in things like that. Luis, for you, has your journey within the leather community, has it been anything that, what was like your moment of realizing that you were a part of the community or that you wanted to be a part of the community?
I think the sort of real line in the sand was I had the absolute honor of being asked to judge International Ms. Bootblack back in 2014. And it was kind of the first fetish event I'd been to where nobody really had that much of an idea who I was. And being a leather event, I was like, okay, well, I'm here as, I guess, an extension of Melbourne Rubberman still, but it's a leather event. So it's a great opportunity to show off some of my leather as well. So I kind of went 50-50 in what I was wearing throughout the thing. And it was the first time I'd gone out in my leather to a big event. And people hadn't made like a weird, snarky comment about me wearing leather because they just didn't know that I was specific, like that I was perceived specifically as a rubberman. And then I got to the end of that and I'm like, wow, okay, so here I was treated as a leather man and a rubber man. Has some of this just been in my head? Have I been putting this pressure on myself to like fit into this box when I can, fit into multiple boxes? Like, why am I putting this pressure on myself? And why am I letting people put pressure on me to not be a leather man as well? And then after that, it was like a dam broke, and it's like, fuck it. I'm going to be as leathery as I want to be. And also, it gets really cold in winter in Melbourne. And just the winter of 2024, I could not be fucked putting rubber on at all. It was too cold. So leather was perfect.
Mm-hmm. Same question to you, Luis.
I started my leather journey back in Spain when I was living there. Back then, I always saw like the Leathermen at the Pride parades, and I thought like, wow, they're very masculine. They're very um, self-secure. They have like they're gorgeous. They're stunning on there. I fought with myself a lot of years until then I walked into the infamous boxer store in Barcelona and bought my first harness and brought that home. I thought like everything would blow up, like my marriage, everything, because I've never been like really open about like that I really was into kink stuff. And it was a very positive experience. My husband really embraced it as well and said like, you look great in it, do it. And I remember then 2019, Pride in Barcelona, I was standing at Avinguda Paral·lel, which is like the avenue where we have our Pride parade. And I was standing right at the beginning to see the floats, and I saw all these floats coming on, and there was the leather float and the king float coming on, and there was this guy. It was very stunning, and I was looking at him, and he came to me, and I thought like he was going to tell me to not look as pervy as I was doing that. And at the end, he said like to me, "You're a Leatherman, right?" And I said like, yes." And he said like, "Okay, come on, you're walking with us today." And I was like, no, but I'm here with my friends and I haven't signed up to that yet. And oh my God, like I got really nervous about it. He's like, no talk. I'm not asking. You're walking with us. And so I joined the Leather Float very spontaneously in 2019. And that was my first experience. And it was very beautiful, this brotherhood from the very beginning when I started my leather journey, that I was like really accept it like without any judgment, any questions, any nothing at all, like just being me and myself and living my kinks and my fetishes and just going for it. And then the same happened to me when I moved to Sydney in 2021. That I just started going out into the leather and fetishing king scene, and there's so many facets, and nobody asks any questions. Like they ask you only like what you're interested in and what you want to learn and what you want to experience, and they give you all the time and the openness to do so. And that was very, very beautiful. It was for me a very, very fantastic experience from the very get-go.
I would love to get to experience the leather community. I think I'm going back to Spain this year, but I've been to Barcelona, and that just seems like so cool. That's a great story. Jacob, I want to kick it over to you. What was the moment for you when you felt like you were a part of the leather or kink community or whatever you're into?
Oh, so I was pretty fortunate. I wish everyone had it as easy as me. I knew I was into leather and kink before I realized I was gay. I certainly knew it before I came out of the closet. My first proper relationship was a dom-sub relationship. I was a collared puppy, and I got a job at the Sportsman Hotel, which is Queensland's old historic gay pub, which is also where Bootco is. So my first experience with Bootco was working behind the bar, and it took me about 5 minutes to realize, oh, this is where I want to be. So ever since I was 18, really, I've known that the leather community is the one for me. I definitely had to take a step away due to some health issues and to having quite a bad relationship breakup at one point. So as the kind of tail end of COVID fade away, I've just thrown myself back into it and made up for lost time.
Right on, right on. All right, and then we've got BB. When was your realization that you were a leather person?
For me, I grew up in Sri Lanka. I lived there for 30 something years and then moved to Australia. So it was a different life. I did not have any exposure to anything other than online. So forget about being a kinky person or a leather person, but even being gay is very challenging there, and still homosexuality is criminalized there. So the first struggle was to accept yourself and try to be yourself than anything else. But like thanks to internet, I think I always knew that I'm into these things, but I never thought I would have an opportunity to experience it until I moved to Australia 9 years ago. So I started slowly connecting with people and find out what I like and what I don't like. And then, especially in Melbourne, the community has been amazing. It's not just wearing leather, but just connecting with people through that changed everything for me. And I mean, I love rubber as well. I do have rubber, and I used to go to rubber socials and leather events. But then through leather, I met a lot of people who basically accepted me for who I am rather than just trying to show one side of me and not another side, which I'm so used to doing in Sri Lanka, just only like showing my straight acting face or some other part of me rather than just fully myself. So yeah, I found people who accepted me as I am, and that just sort of changed everything for me. And I think I found community and people and connection through leather, and mainly for last few years in Melbourne.
Yes. Y'all are a diverse group of people with some stories, and I've only gotten about 5% in. All right, before we start digging deeper to the fun questions for me, Brendan, what's been up? It's been almost a year since I've seen you, my friend. Um,
Yeah,
how's your evolution going?
it's been great. So yeah, since being at IML, I've been building the connections with some of the class I've had. Since then, I went to my first Folsom Europe, and it was great to have a bit of a reunion with some members of our class. Saw things like David Weeble and Andreas and so on, and Elena, one of our judges. We even had a tour of the Reichstag together, so it was great to connect. I'll be back at IML this time next month. So if you're there, I'll see you there.
Mhm.
But yeah, it's been great.
Right on. And then Shane, I mean, has a lot changed since the 1 month since I last talked to you here? What's up, Shane? What are you doing?
No, not much has changed in the last month. Just continuing to do the community events. And for me, it's about also helping our other fellow Aussie contestants here prepare for IML. So answering any questions they might have, um, and kind of calming the nerves a bit. I think it's one of these experiences that is always going to be a big moment in their lives. So there's a lot of emotions around those things, but it's about passing on our knowledge of our experience and how it was for us to really help them settle in and be prepared.
I'm looking forward to the wisdom of nuggets, the nuggets of wisdom that you're going to be giving these guys, you and Brendan. All right, let's get to the fun questions. All right, Luis and BB, you're up first. So you guys are not just representing Australia, you have backstories, backgrounds, different countries that you were born in. The representation for you, BB, the like, I had some, people on my show past that are now being visible to places back where it's not, okay to be a leather person, or like you said, even being a homosexual. Is there any added pressure and representation for you going into getting a title? Do you feel that you're representing both Sri Lanka and Australia at the same time?
I'm happy to go first, Louise.
Yeah.
Um,
Go for it.
um, um, yes, there is an added pressure, but also I think that's a way of living for me. So I find it a normal thing. I always identify as a Sri Lankan Australian, just so I can talk about my Sri Lankan heritage as well. And most of my life, 31, 2 years, I lived in Sri Lanka, so I can't forget that part. My life in Australia has been just 9 years so far. So I always go as a Sri Lankan Australian where I can talk about my background and my roots. The added pressure of representation comes with that, because I think when you are one of the minorities in a place, you sort of think that you have to represent everyone else. How I overcome that is, yes, I think I need to represent, but also I can't speak for everyone. I can't represent everyone else. I try to live my life, which is I'm a Sri Lankan Australian and I'm an immigrant, and live by my life experience and talk about my life experience, which can relate to so many other people or resonate with so many other people. That's how I try to connect rather than thinking that I'm representing this major group of people. At the same time, I think the positive side of it is that the attention you get is very positive. There's negative attention as well, but from the queer population or the smaller group who are into fetish and living in South Asia, I get really good um, support or connections built through online mainly because I don't live there. I live here, but like, I create these online connections. That visibility is important because I wish if I saw people like me growing up who were into leather or into fetishes and living their true life. So I could aspire to that. I didn't have that exposure. Or I didn't know. I didn't have that. I didn't have that to see to aspire to. But I hope I can create that for anyone else who's living there to see that there are other people like them everywhere in the world, and you can become whatever you are at some point in your life. So yeah, there's positive and negatives. The stigma attached to that is still there, and some of the conversation I have is very challenging when it comes to that because people don't understand. And again, like I said, being a gay man is a different thing to being a kinky gay man or a leather gay man. So those conversations are sometimes hard, but I think there's a greater purpose in having these conversations. So I'm yeah happy to have these conversations with anyone.
So, Luis, are you consider yourself a Spanish Australian?
I've asked myself the question a lot of time. It's like I feel I'm from everywhere but nowhere, and at the end, like I got to the term like I'm a citizen of the world at the end. Even though, as said, like by heritage, I'm Spanish because both my parents are Spanish, and I grew up in a very, very traditional and typical Southern Spanish household, even though I grew up most of that time in Germany as well. So it was like the multiculturality was always embedded in my background. Similar to what Bibi was mentioning, like I had a chance to travel and connect with Europe a lot, especially because I have family still there. And this year, as title holder, I was able to connect more, even like with the leather fetish and king scene, and it was actually a very beautiful experience to see like how we have the same struggles across borders. We have the same problems, but we have also the same brotherhood or union across borders, which is very beautiful to see. I enjoyed especially that I could represent our community down under. I think also Jacob and the other guys have been also abroad in other countries, which was lovely that we could represent our community down under. And also, it was lovely that I could or showcase a little bit of the smaller communities like Frankfurt, for example. Frankfurt has a very small leather community, but showcase them as well because that's where I grew up actually. And it was actually also with the help of Leather and Fetish and King, a way to reconnect, especially with Germany. So approximately almost 20 years ago, when I left Germany to live in Spain and work in Spain, I left a little bit on a bad taste, because I was always been marginalized and like I didn't have always the same opportunities just because I'm Spanish. And that was always, and all the jobs that I did during high school, during university, I was always the Spaniard. And you could see that there was a certain tone of racism now, and like it's still there, and you can still see that. And interesting was I got back and I had always like this feeling like if I connect with the German communities as a Spaniard or as an Australian Spanish, as you said, well, that happened to me again. And it was absolutely not. Like it was beautiful to reconnect with the German culture on the King basis because they had not this. Like I was a Kingster more. I'm a Kingster, and they're very happy always to say that like I'm representing on the other way around, also the German community down under, which is for them a big honor as well. So this is it's been a very beautiful experience so far to do that.
All right. Jacob, how important is Australian representation to you?
Oh, massively so, to be honest. I think often, especially being from Queensland, a lot of people view us as the Florida of Australia. So one of the big issues that our community deals with is basically brain drain, where you get people that want to be in lovely progressive areas move away because places like Sydney and Melbourne are seemingly more progressive or safer right off the bat. But realistically, if we keep on doing that, we'll never make the change that we want to see here in Queensland. Queensland is somewhere that has a reputation for being incredibly racist. But despite that, we actually do have some of the most multicultural cities on the entire planet in our state. So I'm a big believer in sticking here and doing the work and making it safe so that people don't have to move to Melbourne, don't have to move to Sydney, but we can stay in the places where we have those connections and where our families are. It's definitely been quite a big honor to travel the world, doing a little bit of travel with Liam as well to be able to go over to Aotearoa, New Zealand, get across Thailand and up to Europe, and really just bask in how privileged we are as Australians. People love us. I was just absolutely gobsmacked every time I was going around France or even Belgium, how kind people were, how many people would go out of their way to tell me my French is good, even though I know my French is not what it used to be. So it is definitely, I guess, a privilege to get to enjoy having that representation, but it also comes with that knowledge that, hey, it isn't this easy for everyone. So it's really up to those of us with that privilege to put in the work so that everyone can have those kind of experiences and not have to worry about racism or other forms of discrimination as they step into kink spaces globally.
Brennan, how has the climate, you think, for the Australian community at large changed much in the past year?
Yes. So politically, Australia almost always follows the United Kingdom and Australia. So we are now starting to really see the dividends of that, where particularly in Queensland, but in other states too, where there really is a really powerful anti-trans sentiment coming through multiple parts of the political system, and it's almost singularly focused on trans children. Similarly, it's really easy for us to sit here as Australians and go, oh, look at what America's doing. That's so terrible. But realistically, an awful lot of what the Trump regime is doing with ICE is modeled after the Australian programs that have been in place since the early 2000s. The only thing we don't really do are these big raids, but all of the other pieces of the puzzle are all in place. They're quite long term. The difference is we don't do them on Australian soil. So we basically pay low and middle income Pacific Island nations to be our detention centers. So I think it's really important for us in Australia to, yes, it's fair enough. We can look at America and say, wow, that's quite scary. The idea of traveling there is quite scary. But we need to do the work to make sure that Australia can be the welcoming place that we all tend to believe it is.
That's a great that's a very great thing. Brendan, so have the challenges that you went through past year, this year, and the past year coming, have they changed for you?
I guess not so much. I guess a lot of what's happened has been the same. As Jacob was saying, we had the uh, puberty blocker ban here in Queensland in my home state, within some of the political climate, but we are lucky that federally we have a more progressive government, but our state one was a bit regressive. Yeah.
So there's been some backpedaling, some backward movement.
Exactly, we have regressed. We have got a conservative government in, so our home club, Bhanuka Brisbane, has been donating to some of the legal challenges of that ban, helping to try to overturn it. We did get it overturned briefly before there was some legal wrangling, and it's back in place, the ban.
So Shane, are you going through something different than what Brendan is going through in your state?
No, we're in the same state, so we're going through the same stuff. But these things also bleed into other states as well. As the Trump regime has bled into other countries around the world. So it's important that we advocate against these kind of things and continue to do so and get these things overturned, so that when it happens in other places, they have an example that they can follow to challenge these things that happen.
Liam, okay, so why IML? Because everybody goes for a different reason, but for you, what do you want to go show? What's up your sleeves? What cards are you playing?
So for me, I really feel very passionately about Australian representation in these international contests. I think they do tend to be a little bit North America centric, which is understandable. The whole sort of system is from North America, so it makes sense that they tend to be a little bit more attended by North Americans. But I feel like if I internally have, a grumble about there not being enough Australians, then I should stand up and represent as well. It's been, I think, 46 years since we've won IML. So I think we just need to keep turning up and keep showing what Australian leather is. And I think we tend to get sometimes a little bit unfairly lumped in as sort of like a monolith culture, where people don't quite realize that we are very, very disparate cities and states and cultures, and we are a very multicultural country as well. So I think it's the onus is for us to actually just turn up. I mean, look at the four of us who are competing. We are all very, very diverse people. So I really want to go and help add to the legacy, help take a shot to do well, to show what I can do. Also for me, as a sort of personal level, it feels like a perfect way to end the adventure of being Mr. Australian Leather 2025. My step down is next week. Then I have 3 weeks and then I'm off to America. And it just feels like a nice little end to what this experience was. So it's both, I want to represent for Australia. I want to be there. I want to support my three brothers as we all go through this adventure together. But also I want to have the, satisfaction of having a nice adventure to end my title year.
Jacob, what about you? What do you want to do at IML?
I definitely want to do my best to represent for Australia overall, but especially for Queensland, particularly those of us that did not grow up in, Brisbane or the Gold Coast, the big metro areas. All too often across the state, there are lots of kinky people all over Queensland, but they don't necessarily see themselves in our spaces. They don't hear their accent, they don't hear the way that they talk, and they don't necessarily see the way that they relate to other people. So I want to do my best to bring that to the stage at IML. Also, for me, there is a bit of a time-bound pressure. I'm 11 years out loud and proud as a pos man. Of course, with some of the political situation in the US, there's a good chance that this may be my only year to compete. I would have probably preferred to give myself a little bit more time rather than doing it in the middle of my title year. But sometimes when the opportunity presents itself, you just got to take it by the balls and see where it takes you. I'm also just really, really excited to get to do IML with our cohort. Obviously, the three other Australian brothers that are here, but so many of the wonderful people I've met from around the world in the States, from Canada, from across Europe and elsewhere. I'm really, really excited to get to build that brotherhood together and see who ends up taking it home.
All right, then. What about you, Luis? IML, what's in it for you?
Um, I think very much in line. I want to represent our Sydney community and our New South Wales community, which is very beautiful, which is very multifaceted, and I hope I can make it justice during IML. On the other hand, I also want to represent what my profession is, like the healthcare professionals. We have just a few there. And I think I want to advocate especially for healthcare. I think we're scratching a little bit on the surface with the trends, with the puberty blockers, etc., the non-access to healthcare, and how worldwide the access to LGBTIQ and queer people in general, like, is being denied and made more difficult to access, I think, quality and equity healthcare in that sense. So that's one of my things. I'm a nurse by background, so sorry, I
Oh,
didn't say that. And this is why healthcare is always really at the bottom of my heart.
okay, that's fantastic. BB, what about for you? Going to IML.
Going to IML or even being a leather title holder was never something that thought that I could do in my life. So even thinking of going to IML feels like a one of a lifetime opportunity for me, and I really want to experience that. And like everyone said, Australia is a very multicultural and a diverse country, and I want to show that there at IML stage. But also, like I said, I want to represent my Sri Lankanness, my South Asianness in that stage as well, because I don't see many people like me on running for titles or on these stages. And I want to change that. And there's a personal agenda behind going to that um, big stage and representing there.
Okay, so let's go. So, Brendan, is there any advice? What would you give to your brothers here about stepping on that stage?
Yeah, it's a very intimidating thing getting on a stage in front of 2,000 people. I think at that point, going into the international community, when you step onto that stage or in front of the judges, you are to them a blank slate. I think a lot of people, they coming from 14,000 kilometers away, they won't know much about you. So it's important to show who you are genuinely, authentically in front of everyone.
All right, and then for you, Shane, what advice would you give them about stepping on the stage?
Um, you put pressure on yourself. You want to, it's representation. We all want to go across. And we want to represent Australia and our home clubs, but kind of don't disregard them, but sometimes put them to the back of your mind. Those kind of pressures are really important. You're going to represent yourself as a human being on that stage. That's your main goal. Okay. Everything else, winning, making top 20, all of those things are less important than representing yourself and who you are authentically from the heart. So that's something that you really need to keep in the forefront of your mind. In addition to that, try and have the best time. Okay, there's going to be a lot of emotions going on. There's going to be nerves. There's going to be fears. There's going to be expectations that you want to try and connect with all 70 plus contestants. Realistically, that's not always going to happen. You're not going to get to talk to everyone intimately all of the time because you're going to be pulled here, there, and everywhere. So just kind of sort of lower your expectations. And if you have somewhat average expectations, everything else is going to exceed those expectations and you're going to have the best time.
All right. All that IML stuff is out of the way. All right, we're going deeper for the next 15 minutes. Are you all ready? All right. So, Jacob, you mentioned that you are HIV positive, correct? So,
Yes.
I am also HIV positive. And everyone has their own journey, of course, to going through that. Are you familiar with Pedro Zamora?
I'm not, no.
Okay. All right. So I'm not gonna use that reference. But so for you, how do you feel about putting yourself out there as somebody that is living with HIV?
I've always felt that it's really the only way forward. I guess that decision was made for me a little bit. I was diagnosed quite young. Back at that stage in criminal law in Queensland, you had to very clearly tell people your status before you had sexual intercourse, even if you were using a barrier method like a condom back then. And while those laws have changed, I always saw the most easy way for me to protect myself and the other people around me was to just be upfront, out loud, and proud about it. Very quickly, though, I started having people come to me and say, I've been pos for 10 years, I've been pos for 20 years, and seeing you be brave enough to tell people that makes me feel better about it. One of the most beautiful moments I've had in my title year so far was somebody that I've known for quite a long time that's, been around in our local scene for a while, come to me and just say, hey, because of the advocacy you're doing with Queensland positive people, I've now felt comfortable to tell my partner and tell my family. And they've wonderfully accepted him. He had a great time of it, and now he doesn't feel like he has to hide that from them. The flip side is I probably did have a little bit of privilege there. I came from a medical family, so I was pretty up to date on the science when I got diagnosed. So for me, the focus is less about like, what does my treatment looks like? It's more how do we plug those gaps, especially in low and middle income countries? What are the drugs that we can get out there to work towards that goal of ending HIV transmission by 2030. It might be slipping, but I do think it's something that's worth focusing on because with Lenacapavir and the new long-lasting drugs coming out, there really is a good chance to eliminate this disease in our lifetimes, which is something that, would bring me no end of joy to see.
No, and it's just so important for people to be aware of that and how it impacts everybody, but to be aware how far we come and how close we are to eradicating this. If we just stay focused, put pressure on people to do the right thing, especially in government, and help people, because no one asks for this, and it affects children, it affects newborn babies, it affects everybody. So, that's so important. BB, you have a Platform F, right? I've seen it. I love it. Why don't you tell us a little bit more about that? How did that come about?
I started that last year when I was uh, the Laird Leatherman, and I wanted to talk about finding connections and finding community in fetish scene because when I started exploring fetish and kink and leather and everything, it was a struggle to go and meet people and start conversations because I was so new and I didn't know what to do. A lot of people helped me, a lot of people guided me through that, and then I became a title holder. So I wanted to use that experience and talk about it more to um, share our personal stories of finding community, finding belonging within fetish and kink scene. So we talk about all that. We don't go into anyone's kinks or fetishes or anything, but we talk about community and personal stories. And I also wanted to focus on intersectional experiences because I understand the privilege of being a man and a leather man and what comes with that. But also because I come from a country that I couldn't be myself, I also understand what it feels when I don't have the opportunities or the spaces that I can't be myself. So because of that, I wanted to talk about different stories of different people So it started as a video podcast. It's on Spotify and YouTube, and I'm using Instagram as well. But also, I did a face-to-face forum at the Laird at one point, and I want to keep doing that even after. I'm doing that even after my title year. At the moment, I'm gonna have a break for IML, and I'm gonna start it again. I want to share more stories because the feedback I'm getting for this is amazing. I get a lot of messages everywhere I go. There's a lot of new people who want to come and talk to me about it. It's a small audience, but in a space like Melbourne and Australia, where the fetish community is anyway smaller, I mean, it feels bigger, the impact feels bigger, and I get a lot of positive feedback from that. So I really want to keep doing that.
And you should. And I'm a testament to that, okay? Keep going. Go do
Right.
don't give up. Be consistency because people will respect you for that. Especially to keep something going post IML. Like I think that's really what a lot of you, and that's my advice to you, is that yes, people will get to see you on the IML stage, but can you keep their attention when you walk off that stage? That's really where it really starts, to be honest with you. Because people are going to see if you're here for the community or you're here for yourself. And I'm not saying that everyone that walks away are looking out for themselves, but some people just don't have a long game in mind, you know? Some of us do, and I'm sure there are people right now that I'm talking to that have a long game in mind. And that is really regarding your placements. Let's say you all got 52nd place. If you keep going, even with that placement in 3 years, staying true to who you are, learning from why you have to take. I took my placement as constructive criticism. And what I mean by that is that I knew when I was going into IML that I wasn't aesthetically ready for it. I didn't have the leather preparation that I needed. I didn't really know much about who I was because I went to IML with just about 7 months of leather experience in general under my belt. And so everyone's going to be coming to this stage with different experiences and times and things like that. But it made sense when I got off that stage and walked away. It's like, okay, Lewis, like you're still growing, you're still learning. What do you think? You're not ready for top 20. You're not ready to be international Mr. Leather. You're trying to figure out who LTJ is right now. And IML isn't the place to, IMO is not the place to come and try to figure yourself out. And I would be quite frank with you. Like, know your platform, know what you want to do. It seems like everybody that I'm talking to right now has a sense of what they need to bring to the table. So just keep at it. And if you know you're doing the work now, I hope that you guys will continue to do it after the fact. Luis, you're a nurse. Nurse, I mean, God, we need fucking nurses, that's all I can say. And then you're being in a profession that sometimes is gendered to be, that's a thing you have to deal with. That typically we get ignorance of that. Most nurses are women, but now we're getting to where we understand that men are nurses as well. As a leather person and a nurse, how does like nurture and care play into your leather life? How are you nurse like in the leather community?
Um, I do, well, one of the biggest things that I do is basically education. So I both teach in the medical space. I teach at different colleges here in Australia, for example, at the Royal College of Surgeons. I teach courses, both in techniques, but also in equity and LGBTIQ spaces, etc. At the same thing, I also do education in the leather fetish and kink spaces. So I am, for example, I'm a teacher and educator at Studio Kink in Sydney. With my Shibari partner Lenny, we teach Shibari courses together and I also do courses in medical play with instruments to make sure that they're safe. One of the things that we really focus on is also always like safety, consent, safe practices, and that to make sure that everybody learns the basics and make sure that when they play, it's always safe. In healthcare, it's the same thing. Like you want to teach people to make sure that they learn the techniques correctly. Um, One of the things is especially for healthcare professionals when they deal with queer people, often they're not very trained on that, on how to communicate, like simple things like even asking like, what are your pronouns? And things like that. And we've seen in Australia that in the past few years it's changing, which is great. But we've seen in the past few years that a lot of like queer people don't go to their GP or don't do their health checkups because they feel marginalized or they feel treated very badly because doctors sometimes make comments that they don't that are really inappropriate. Saying, I had, for example, a friend who asked me like, "Do you know a good urologist?" Because mine told me very bad things. So he was asking for a urologist. He explained that he was into cockball torture, and then the doctor like completely lost it on him at the consult, which is really unacceptable. So I recommended somebody that I know actually, and the thing is, we need to do a lot of education to the healthcare professionals as well, so that they treat the queer community or the leather and fetish and kink community as well in extension appropriately when they communicate or when they do diagnostics or when they just do have a chat with them, which is very important. So that is my basic thing that I do. I educate in both spaces actually, and it's education and knowledge is power at the end that can help change and shape the world.
Liam, I have a unique question for you. Did you
Ooh,
watch
okay.
Power Rangers growing up?
Did I watch what?
Did you watch Power Rangers when you were growing up as a kid?
When I was very young, yeah.
Okay, so you're a Power Ranger. Actually, you're Liam right now, and you have
Uh-huh.
two morphers. One is a leather morpher, you become a leather
Hmm.
ranger, and the other one is a rubber morpher. You become a rubber ranger. Why are you when are you going to morph in to get what from the leather community, and when are you going to morph into rubber to get something from that? What attributes do both of those bring to you to create one superhero?
I mean, I often describe, I guess, my leather persona leather and rubber personas in terms of like more of sort of like a Dungeons and Dragons sort of rubric. So I'll use that for a second and then go back to the Ranger. I would say that in terms of like alignment, leather Liam is lawful good, rubber Liam is chaotic good.
Okay.
So like I feel like a sexy anti-hero in rubber, whereas I feel like a paladin in leather. So I guess going back to the Ranger analogy, I think for me it like depends on what version of me is required at the time. So if it's in terms of a community thing, what does someone need from me in that moment? Do they need me to be, sort of more upstanding and more grand Liam? And then that's possibly more of a leather thing. Or do they need me to be like fun, sexy Liam? And that's possibly more rubber. Those two personalities bleed into each other a lot. If in terms of what I'm going with when I go out to the Laird on a Thursday night, it's how do I feel at the time? I often do not plan ahead until I've had a shower and I'm ready to go. And it's like, okay, what do I physically feel like putting on my body right now? And it's not my sash, apparently. So yeah, it's just how do I feel in this moment? Do I want to like spend the next 20 minutes lubing myself up to get into a cat suit? Do I want to spend 20 minutes trying to get my socks on properly so I can then get my boots over my leather pants? What do I feel like doing? Yeah, that's sort of where it becomes the split in my mind.
All right, we're about to get close to a game. Before we get there, there's just two questions I have left. Shane, what would you tell Shane last year right now?
IML will change your life, and your connections will go far beyond 1 week of events. Your experience, yeah, it's a once in a lifetime experience, but that continues into your everyday life as well. The confidence that it gives you, the sense of achievement, and again, those connections, they're going to go on for years to come. Our class still talks every single day. Sometimes Brendan and I will wake up to 300 and odd messages, which is an experience. But yeah, I think, what would I tell myself from a year ago? I would just say be proud of it. I spend a lot of my time trying to be humble about things and trying to, oh no, it's no big deal, it's no big deal. But the facts are it was quite a large life achievement for me, and I need to be able to sit with that in my own head and actually say to myself, yeah, you've done good. You've done what you've wanted to do. You represented yourself. And just watch that bleed through the rest of my life, the people that I talk to, the people that I interact with, and how I can help those people into the future. That's what creating a legacy is. It's not about your own journey. It's about helping everybody else's journey as well. So yeah, that's what I tell myself. Just be proud and sit with that.
All right, Brendan, same question. What would you tell Brendan last year right now?
Yeah, I think a year on, you gain so much confidence from it. The connections, and you learn connections with people from all around the world, and learn so much about the international community. I think one of the things that I tell myself is to enjoy it more. Don't put such pressure on yourself. Just put yourself out there, show the world who you are, and everything will go from there. I went there, I went there to make my local community proud, to show the world what Australia was made of. The four of us together, united as one. And I think it paid dividends so much from that.
All right, great. That was some substance here. I think we need to loosen up things a little bit, okay? So I decided that I've done this before. Usually when I do my special groups and things, I love to play superlatives. Are you guys not to play superlatives? I'm going to say something like, who's most likely to suck their thumb? And you're all going to say that person, and we're going to see who it is, okay? That's not what I'm going to ask you, but it's something like that. All right, I'm going to try to do 10 of these, okay, y'all? Hold on a second. My phone is ringing. Give me a second. All right. That is my Sash grandson, and I'm having to put him on hold. I hope he can make it without me for a second. Okay, y'all are ready. Who's most likely to have their own dark room in their house?
Jacob.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
Jacob. Who's most likely to sing while they're having sex?
Liam.
Luis, I reckon.
Eurovision especially.
Yeah, although we are both terrible singers, so that could be a putting everyone off potentially.
Did you think of a song to sing though? Just one song? Something about Kylie Minogue, I guess, right?
She is from Melbourne.
Wow, that's a song, right? I know that one. All right, who is the most leathery? Who has the most leather?
I think I'm going to have to say, I think we all have a lot, but I think Jacob wears it the most when he's traveling. So I think I'm going to have to say Jacob.
Jacob, your name's.
I would have to say Shane. I reckon Shane owns the most leather.
Yeah.
I just wear a lot of my pieces again and again and again, get my value out of them.
Yeah, but you're full sash on the plane. That's another level.
Okay.
I don't trust myself to not lose it if it's not in sight.
Okay, let me think of some other ones. Okay, who's most likely to get tied up?
Luis.
On stage, Luis.
As a rope bunny performer.
Yeah.
Okay. Who's most likely to cry when an ant dies?
Luis.
When it what? Sorry, I didn't hear.
When an insect dies, we'll just say that. An insect dies. Who's most likely?
Luis or BB?
Jacob.
BB.
Jacob.
Okay. Who do you think? Well, that'd be kind of a tough one to ask you. Okay. Who's most likely to do a walk of shame after a night?
Jacob.
Okay.
Jacob.
I think I'm at five, right?
I've seen it.
I've seen it, yeah.
We've all seen it.
Okay. Who has the most anxiety?
Most of us, I believe. I do have, definitely.
I think it's Shane or BB.
Who's likely? Okay, let me rephrase and give you. Who's most likely to have a panic attack first?
Liam. I think Liam's the most likely to
Liam.
be open about the fact it's happening versus
I'm
like.
Yeah, I'm super. I'm super calm, super calm, super calm, panic attack. Like I don't really have like a good anxiety. It's just like regular time, regular time, regular time. Oh no.
All right, this is going to be a little funner one. Who do you think has the most embarrassing coming out story? And whoever that person is going to tell it to us. Who has the most embarrassing coming out story? Do you think your coming out story was embarrassing?
As a Leatherman or as a gay person?
No, you coming out as a child, teenager, adult, politician.
It's definitely not me.
No
Mine was super
embarrassing
boring.
coming out story.
Possibly
I
me,
don't
I
know enough
guess.
about everyone else's. Mine was pretty grim, but what was your shame?
Mine was back when we had dial-up internet and only one house computer. And
I know where this is
three,
going.
yeah, two brothers and my parents. And ultimately, I did not know how to delete history on a computer. Mum logs into the business computer, and then obviously some gay porn pops up, which she then, for some reason, strangely assumes it's my dad. Um, so there was a conversation there, and then they discovered that it would have been one of us three children, and then it was a case of we all had to sit down and work out who was the one on the internet. So it was a traumatic experience.
It sounds traumatic.
Yeah, I nearly had that, but my brother is gay, so I just blamed it all on him.
And it works. They never second guessed it or anything like that.
Not even after he moved out. It was like, oh, I guess Kyle used the computer over the weekend.
Well, I had that dial up, and well, I know I didn't really get caught with the dial up, but like one time I was trying to shut my computer down before my mom like got over to the computer. I don't think she saw anything, but when I was in college, I got caught in my room. A roommate came in. He was like, "What are you doing?" He just busted in. I was on gay.com. That was, did they have gay.com back then? Dude,
Gay.com.
that was 2003 or 4. 2003. Gay.com. Yeah, gay.com. All right, who's most likely to order a pizza after sex?
Jacob.
I would most likely make it after sex
You would
because I
make
love
Mm.
cooking.
Okay.
Yeah, Louise would probably make a lovely artisanal pizza.
Okay. Who's most likely to break out dancing first?
Luis.
Louise.
Yes.
What kind of moves do you do?
I learned classic dances like waltz, and I do
Dance
also
for
salsa.
real. Okay, I thought.
Yes, I did at the there was a rubber event during Mardi Gras, and one of the hosts, Rodrigo, he's also Latino. So at the end, the DJ put on some Latino music at some point, and we both started dancing salsa in rubber, which was quite fun.
Okay, now I'm
So
going
yeah. So
to.
yes, I'm the dancer.
Okay, so I guess the last one, I'm going to edit this to be where all of you can give your answer. Usually this game is it's like marry, fuck, kill. Have you ever heard of that before? Where you have to
Mhm.
determine who you. Let's take the fuck part out because that sounds a little incestuous with you guys, right? We don't want to do that. So we're going to put what can we put in place of that? Let's say make babies with. So you're going to imagine if your genes look good together too. Okay. All right. To end this off, I'm going to ask everyone the same question. Who would you make babies with? Who would you marry? And who would you get rid of? Are you ready?
Oh, no.
This is almost like lip
I'm
syncing.
not ready for this. No.
It's almost like lip syncing for your life. Okay. Only someone's got to go. So get ready. Let's see what we've got. Because Liam, you look like a deer in headlights right now. So let's start with you.
Oh God. Okay. Mary Louise. Um, I think make babies with BB because we both live in Melbourne and could co-parent them very easily. Also, I think I'm so pale that BB would balance, our children out a little bit, and we'd end up with like really nice, beautifully tan babies. And Jacob, I love you, but if someone has to go, I guess it's you.
And don't even give a reason why. Don't give a reason. Nobody give a reason. Just say it.
Okay.
Okay. BB, what do you got?
Is it just four of us or then everyone in the group?
Everybody.
Everybody here.
Oh.
All right. Okay. I would say make babies with Brendan. He's cute. Marry, I would say Jacob. I love Jacob. Get rid of Shane. You don't go to IML. You've done it before, so yeah.
You don't know is at the end of this interview, one of you will be eliminated. Okay, so you don't know. All right, no. Okay, so let's go with Brendan.
Let's see. Yeah. Let's see. Marry Louise. Let's see. Make babies with BB and kill Shane as well.
Okay, that's 2 for you, Shane. Uh-oh. All right, let's go to Luis.
Marry Liam.
Oh.
Aw.
Is this a proposal? Is this what's happening right now?
Not legal in this country.
That's the only match
No.
before that got like it was cute.
Polygamy is not allowed in Australia yet.
Mm.
Make babies, Brendan, because he's a fantastic shibari artist as well. And if I get permission from my rigger one day, I want to be tied up by him and get very naughty. Get rid.
What did I do here?
I'm sorry, Uncle Shane.
Whoa! Whoa, Shane, if you
You've been to IML. You've done excellent. So,
Jacob, your turn.
Okay, yeah, if I had to say marry, probably BB. I could see BB tolerating my own particular brand of neuroses probably better than anyone else. Make babies, probably Luis. I think we have very compatible heritage there. I also have a lot of European heritage. And I'd have to say, yeah, get rid of probably Liam, mostly because Liam and I both have such cursed stomach issues that if we ever contemplated having children together, those children would have the most horrible life. So for the sake of the hypothetical gene pool, get rid of Liam.
Okay, fair. I love how much thought y'all are putting into this. Okay, Shane, this is your revenge. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Go ahead.
Kill you all.
Yeah, kill you all. No, LTJ, you included in this because I've made babies with you.
Okay, we can do that. I'll see you in a month.
I would marry Liam because I feel like that's appropriate. And kill by Brendan. You're going.
Well, I think that what I learned is that Liam, people want to make babies with you. I think the most. I think I got from that. BB.
No one wanted to make babies with me. I got 2 marriage proposals though.
Oh, so you and BB are tied with marriages. Okay, who are the ones that they're getting their thing on? I guess Luis was one of those. I know that
Luis and Brendan, I think.
The trick is now Shane has the power to get rid of one of you. All right, y'all survived. You survived this episode. Give yourselves a hand. I hope I made it fun, at times a little uncomfortable, but we all came through this together. All right, y'all. Well, I want to thank you for taking the time out to do this for me. I do want to say that I had actually pitched an idea to Shane a few weeks ago about making Australia more of a regular presence with throwing lights. I will go ahead and tell you what my plan is that I would like to just offset and create an Australia their own channel for throwing lights. So what I would like to do and something I'm proposing by starting August of this year, I would like to have an Australian on the show every month. So as I work those logistics, you guys can do all you can to help me find the people. It just makes sense right now. It's always been about the US and right now we got to look to other places. And I really believe in you guys and your community and lots of other communities to show that there are places around the world that we can look to for light. But I just think it's important right now that I work as an ally with you all to make sure that you stay in the spotlight and that you have people around your country, in your states, being represented in the leather, in the rubber, any kind of kink communities. But I think right now, working globally as one and showing that we're all fighting together, I think that really will help us get through these times right now. So this is me saying this for the first time, what my intentions are, but I'm not just doing it for Australia. I'll be doing it for Europe as well too. It just makes sense. You all have not as much representation that we have over here. And I am of the mindset that, we need to pass the sash to the best people. And sometimes the best people aren't the ones that are producing the event. Does that make sense? Okay. So I look forward to seeing more of how this is going to shape up. But I'm looking forward to doing this. It's going to be more of a time slot that works for Australians, not for me or what. So I'm going to work with doing this at a time where you can have more people, if they want to participate live or not, or that you're not having to do this at 10 a.m. So with that being said, thank you all so much for doing this again. I am looking forward to seeing all of you. I'm at Shane. We're going to go have already, you're on my list. We got to either do lunch or dinner together. I'm going to be able to hug all of you. I'll be watching you on stage. Brendan, you too. Glad to see you. We can all sit by each other at the contest and cheer these wonderful people on. With that being said, I want to thank you, BB, you, Liam, you, Luis, Brendan, Jacob, and Shane for doing this wonderful episode of Throwing Lights. I wish you all the best of luck. I know that you're all going to kill it. With that being said, I'm going to count to 3 and you guys know what to do, okay? 1, 2, 3.
If you're not throwing light, you're not acting right.
Acting right.
That was like music to my ears. Oh, that was great. Woo! I'm going out tonight. Thank you all so much. This has been another episode of Throwing Light, and these beautiful people and me are leaving. Bye.
Bye.